approaching noon, the giant head of life, ungoverned by mind or soul.
Good morning. We're reading in Book 7, the Book of Yoga, which recounts Savitri's yoga. We're in Canto 3, and we're coming to the end of it on page 500 at the break. So Savitri has received a command from the summits of her being to seek for her soul and to conquer death. And so she turned within into a deep trance and began moving inwardly towards her soul. And as she did, she moved through various layers of the inner consciousness, kind of beginning with this subconscious layer in which all was confused, disordered. There were little vital entities, trolls and gnomes that she encountered passing through this realm, this inner world. And then she moved into the vital layers of her inner being, the vital worlds of great power that could sweep one away in their rush and violence and vehemence. And then she moved into the realms of the inner mind, where things became ordered and ruled according to laws and strict formulas. Everything became very organized and tidy and neat in their defined concepts. And then she moved into higher realms of the inner mind. And there was a touch of aspiration towards the heights, towards the divine, and things could be seen in a great clarity. But still all was defined and limited. And then towards the end, she was passing through a realm where she was seeing some beings kind of emerging from deep within, perhaps from her soul, but they too kind of questioned whether there was such a thing as the soul. And yet one was there who kind of pointed the way and said, is there still one who is seeking for the soul? And that's where we left off, just in those lines. He said, another with mystic and unsatisfied eyes, who loved his slain belief and mourned its death. Is there one left who seeks for a beyond? Can still the path be found? Opened the gate. So that's where we've left off. She's more or less approaching now her inner soul, but still has not yet found it. So let's begin from there on page 500 at the break. And Madam, here, would you like to begin?
So she fared on across her silent self. To a road she came, thronged with an ardent crowd, who spread brilliant, fire-footed, sunlight-eyed, pressing to reach the world's mysterious wall, and pass through masked doorways into outer mind, where the light comes not, nor the mystic voice. Messengers from our subliminal greatnesses, guests from the cavern of the secret soul, into dim spiritual somnolence they break, or shed wide wonder on our waking self. Ideas that haunt us with their radiant tread, dreams that are hints of unborn reality. Strange goddesses with deep-pooled magical eyes, strong wind-haired gods carrying the harps of hope, great moon-hued visions gliding through gold air, aspiration's sun-dream head and star-carved limbs, emotions making common hearts sublime. And Savitri mingling in that glorious crowd, yearning to the spiritual light they bore, longed once to hasten like them to save God's world. But she reined back the high passion in her heart. She knew that first she must discover her soul. Only who save themselves can others save.
Thank you. Let's pause there. So as Savitri presses closer towards her soul, she encounters this throng, this large group of beings moving towards her. So they are messengers from the soul moving outwards towards the outer mind, bringing the message of the soul, of the divine, towards the outer mind, towards, let's say, man, us. It says, into dim spiritual somnolence they break, or shed wide wonder on our waking self. Ideas that haunt us with their radiant tread, dreams that are hints of unborn reality. Strange goddesses with deep-pooled magical eyes, strong wind-haired gods carrying the harps of hope, great moon-hued visions gliding through gold air, aspirations, sun-dream head and star-carved limbs, emotions making common hearts sublime. So that's what these messengers of the soul bring to us. These hints of the divine, of immortality, of beauty and wonder, of hope. So they have a great importance. They move us towards the divine, show us the direction, perhaps in which it is. But Savitri is searching for the source from where they have come. So it says, she reined back the high passion in her heart. Well, no, before that, yearning to the spiritual light they bore, longed once to hasten like them to save God's world. Once she also felt to help others in the world, but now she has discovered that first she must find her soul before she can really help others. Only who save themselves can others save. So we often feel that urge ourselves to want to help others, to bring light, to bring knowledge of the divine to others. But it may deflect us from finding the deeper truth, from finding the source of that light, of that power that can help. So let's continue. Okay, we can go.
In contrary sense, she faced life's riddling truth, the carrying the light to suffering men, hurried with eager feet to the outer world. Her eyes were tuned towards the eternal source. Outstretching her hands to stay the throng, she cried, "O happy company of luminous gods, reveal who know the road that I must tread. For sure that bright quarter is your home, to find the birthplace of the occult fire and the deep mansion of my secret soul." One answered, pointing to a silence dim on a remote extremity of sleep, in some far background of the inner world. O Savitri, from thy hidden soul we come. We are the messengers, the occult gods, who help man's drab and heavy ignorant lives to wake the beauty and the wonders of things, touching them with glory and divinity. In evil we light the deathless flame of good and hold the torch of knowledge on ignorant roads. We are the will and all man's will towards light.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this part just continues with the same idea. These beings are moving towards the outer consciousness, the outer mind, bringing their message of hope and light and truth to the outer mind. And she's pressing inwardly towards their source. And she encounters one of these beings, one of these luminous gods, and he tells that, yes, he is coming from her inner soul, and that he and the others that he is with are messengers who help man's drab and heavy, ignorant lives to wake to beauty and the wonder of things, touching them with glory and divinity. And in evil, we light the deathless flame of good and hold the torch of knowledge on ignorant roads. We are thy will and all men's will towards light. So let's continue.
Can you reflect a little bit more on this three line? But she ran back the high passion in her heart. She knew that first she must discover her soul.
Yeah.
But she had the passion also. And only to self and can others. This concept, and then the next in contrast, then to face life's real truth. So when you can look at
yeah, she also yearned to help others with the light that she had. But it was a limited light. A light limited by mind, by perhaps even, the higher realms of the mind or of the heart. But that strength to help is limited from that realm. So she reined back that impulse to help. She knew that first she must find her soul. First she must find the source of that light and that goodness and that truth within her soul.
what does it mean for us?
Huh?
What does it mean for us?
Yeah, it means that we too should rein back that impulse to help others until we ourselves find the truth. First, we must find the divine. Then we can truly help others. Otherwise, it's always a very limited help that we give. People have been helping throughout the ages, and yet the suffering of mankind continues. All the philanthropists, all the charities, all the great works of the compassionate Christians and Buddhists have shed all this help upon the world, and yet it's still wallowing in suffering. The help is limited. It alleviates the present pain, perhaps, but it doesn't get to the core of the issue, or the core of that suffering, its deeper cause, its deeper need. that's, it goes to something of the greatness of Sri Aurobindo, that he never stops short at any kind of limited power, any kind of limited attainment. He was always pressing for that supramental, that all-powerful light and truth. And he wouldn't stop with anything less than that. His will was fixed on that throughout. And that's something of the greatness, because normally people compromise. We say, okay, I found something, it's the best I can do. I stop here, I can share it with those around me. And that's what everyone has done throughout the ages. Somewhere they stopped short of the absolute. The absolute power that could really change and transform the world from its core rather than just on its surface. That surface help is always temporary. It's never complete.
The supplemental is more Sri Aurobindo's terminology. How would you reflect all the text terminology in comparison to what supplemental was about?
I'm not quite sure what. Are you saying about the language in the poem now?
Yeah, just the terminology of supplemental. It's another supplemental.
Yeah, he's
All the mythologies and texts, what is the supplemental there? Or did it even exist, or is it a realization that it didn't conceive?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to answer. If you want me to define a little bit more what the supramental is?
In comparison
to what?
say, Vedic terminology?
To what?
To Vedic terminology?
Vedic. Okay. Well, it's Sri Aurobindo found hints of that in the Vedas, in the language. Ritam, I think, was.
Secret of the Vedas. He has actually written about all of these.
Yeah. So he found a terminology there. There were various Sanskrit words associated with it, but Ritam, I think, was expressive of that supramental truth. So it was there. But what it is, it's a type of consciousness which is omniscient and omnipotent, all-powerful. So it's not, throughout the ages, saints and sages and rishis have realized what Sri Aurobindo calls the silent self. But it's an infinite kind of awareness, consciousness, but it's passive. It doesn't have the power to change the world, to change the physical. One can withdraw into it, into trance, experience this infinity, this omniscience, this bliss. One can enter into that. That has been done. but it didn't bring the power to change the world. So Sri Aurobindo talks about this supramental consciousness as a dynamic, powerful consciousness that can change everything, can transform the world, can transform the physical body. So that's its difference from, the more traditional realizations.
I feel there is still a Bermuda triangle.
Excuse me?
A Bermuda triangle?
Yeah, there's a Bermuda triangle.
Not clear. And what I hear is that he's saying you can't help others. If you are in love, you are helpless.
If what?
If you are in love, if you are really in a position to give,
Yeah.
you are helpless. You can't give. Consciousness is. It's in love, but it's as helpless as we are. And this is not a bad message. It means we have really hopeful. We have really to live spirituality and love. And this is an interesting triangle because we have moved around, and I hear that from you, and you look into the Vedas and other resources. I think a better way is really to read what it says and to fill this gap.
Thing with supramental is the sense of oneness and its absolute certainty of truth consciousness. Even over mind, all the sages have gone, and I'm not sure who said all the sages have gone, it's not for mind, but they never knew that it could be brought down to physical or matter or change or transform. And so they had all sorts of realization through cosmic and but Mother has said the thing with supramental is when you know there is a supramental consciousness in your being, there will be absolute certainty or absolute knowledge which is based on oneness, because even in the overmind the powers that there's distinction and it's not absolute truth and an absolute equality in the physical world that is then harmonize all vibrations in matter.
Because it's exactly right what she said, this oneness concept. Because when people asked Ramana Maharshi and Sivananda, how do I help others? He said, there are no others. So if you're coming from that position, you're already outside. So the oneness and the truth consciousness is the only way.
Right.
But we get lost in our work and in our conditioning.
Yes. Yeah, this supramental consciousness, because it's supramental, we cannot conceptualize it. We cannot really, touch it with our words or our thoughts. It's something else completely. And so the only way to really get at it is to identify with it. In our inner being, we have to find that soul, let's say. And that's only the beginning. And so we can talk about it and philosophize and argue, but that in itself is not going to bring it. We have these words which are pointers, like these messengers. They say, this way, the road is this way. But you have to travel it.
Show some clarity on how come there is a day of the descent of the supplemental. There is a day assigned for that. Yes.
Yeah, so there was this descent of this supramental light and consciousness into the earth atmosphere. So it was a general kind of descent linking our consciousness, the earth's consciousness, with that truth. And yet, the work is not finished. Still, that light has to permeate down into, our lives, our bodies. But it's there now as a help, as a force that we can open to, and a force that is working to transform things. It itself will do the work, but it can't do it instantly because matter, life in the world is not ready for it. They said that if it would, descend completely now, everything would vanish. This life could not withstand it because there is this darkness in life, in matter, that needs to, if it's not going to be destroyed in the process and just become absolute light, if it's to undergo this change, then that work has to proceed along some timeline.
Isn't that the concept of evolution? They break through the concept of evolution. It's happening in time.
Right.
That's why it can't come all at once. Because we have to transform it. And it's an individual as well as collective task. So how to tune into that? We couldn't tune into it until he articulated it. Because we had no idea.
Right.
So now these messengers are guiding us on that path, as you said.
Okay, let's go back to the poem. So, where are we? Here? Would you read? No. Praveen?
There in the silence few have ever reached. Thou shalt see the fire burning on the bare stone.
Where are you? O human copy.
O human copy and disguise of God, who seekest the deity thou keepest hid, and livest by the truth thou hast not known. Follow the world's winding highway to its source. There in the silence few have ever reached. Thou shalt see the fire burning on the bare stone, and the deep cavern of thy secret soul. Then Savitri, following the great winding road, came where it dwindled into a narrow path, tread only by rare wounded pilgrim feet. A few bright forms emerged from unknown depths, and looked at her with calm, immortal eyes. There was no sound to break the brooding hush. One felt the silent nearness of the soul.
Thank you. The lines are interesting. O human copy and disguise of God. So this is how he addresses Savitri. She is a copy and disguise of God. Who seekest the deity thou keepest hid. She's seeking for the soul, the deity, which she herself is hiding deep within her. And she livest by the truth thou hast not known. She's living under the influence of this truth within her, but she's not fully conscious of it yet. I think we too feel that sometimes, right? Yeah. We try, to live according to the truth, or we feel influenced by it, but yet we don't know. We feel it above, we sense it, but we don't know it. And then he describes something of the soul. There in the silence, few have ever reached. Tells us something about the state in which we find the soul in this very deep silence. Thou shalt see the fire burning on the bare stone. And this fire, well, it reminds us of Agni, the god of fire, but the god of aspiration, Sri Aurobindo refers to. So the soul is something burning within us to reunite with the divine. They talk of it as, something that in our subtle senses we can even see and feel its heat. But it's closely associated with the soul, the psychic being, this fire of aspiration. That's the seed that was put into us in order to find again and reunite with the divine, to reunite matter with the divine.
Isn't that the seed that Mother put into Auroville? The soul of Auroville, so you have a secret cavern, you have an inner chamber, in which the sun is burning in the middle on the stone. So we have that symbolized.
Yeah.
So that we can realize our soul. That's the whole point of that vision.
Mm-hmm. So then Savitri continues on this narrow path in which few have trod, because normally we turn outwards towards the world. And she saw a few bright forms emerge from unknown depths and looked at her with calm, immortal eyes. There was no sound to break the brooding hush. One felt the silent nearness of the soul. Again, he stresses this silence several times. So we'll continue now with Canto 4, and we begin by reading through it without any commentary. So B.
Canto 4, the triple soul forces. Here from a low and prone and listless ground, the passion of the first ascent began. A moonbright face in a somber cloud of air, a woman sat in a pale, lustrous robe. A rugged and ragged soul was her bare seat. Beneath her feet, a sharp and wounding stone. A divine pity on the peaks of the world, a spirit touched by the grief of all that lives. She looked out far and saw from inner mind this questionable world of outward things, of false appearances and plausible shapes, this dubious cosmos stretched in the ignorant void, the pangs of earth, the toil and speed of the stars, and the difficult birth and dolorous end of life. Accepting the universe as her body of woe, the mother of the 7 sorrows bore the 7 stabs that pierced her bleeding heart. The beauty of sadness lingered in her face. Her eyes were dim, and the ancient strain of tears. Her heart was riven with the world's agony and burdened with the sorrow and struggle in time. An anguished music trailed in her rapt voice.
Thank you. Let's pause. Or no, let's continue.
Absorbed in a deep compassion's ecstasy, lifting the mild ray of her patient gaze, in soft, sweet, training words, slowly she spoke. O Savitri, I am thy secret soul. To share the suffering of the world I came. I draw my children's pangs into my breast. I am the nurse of the dolor beneath the stars. I am the soul of all who wailing writhe under the ruthless harrow of the gods. I am woman, nurse, and slave, and beaten beast. I tend the hands that gave me cruel blows. The hearts that spurned my love and zeal I serve. I am the courted queen, the pampered doll. I am the giver of the bowl of rice. I am the worshipped angel of the house. I am in all that suffers and that cries. Mine is the prayer that climbs in vain from earth. I am traversed by my creatures' agonies. I am the spirit in a world of pain.
Thank you. Come down here. You read?
The scream of tortured flesh and tortured hearts, fallen back on heart and flesh unheard by heaven, has rent with helpless grief and wrath my soul. I have seen the peasant burning in his hut. I have seen the slashed corpse of the slaughtered child, heard woman's cry ravished and stripped and held, amid the bayings of the hell-hound mob, have looked on, have no power to save. I have brought no arm of strength to aid or slay. God gave me love, he gave me not his force. I have shared the toil of the yoked animal drudge, pushed by the goad, encouraged by the whip. I have shared the fear-filled life of bird and beast, its long hunt for the day's precarious food, its covert slink and crouch and hungry prowl, its pain and terror seized by beak and claw. I have shared the daily life of common man, its petty pleasures and its petty cares, its press of troubles and haggard hoard of years, earth's trail of sorrow, hopeless of relief, the unwanted tedious labor without joy, and the burden of misery and the strokes of fate.
Thank you.
Where am I? 55?
I have been pity.
I have shared the day.
I have been pity. 4 lines up from the bottom.
I have been pity, leaning over pain, and the tender smile that heals the wounded heart, and sympathy making life less hard to bear. Man has felt near my unseen face and hands. I have become the sufferer and his moan. I have lain down with the mangled and the slain. I have lived with the prisoner in his dungeon cell. Heavy on my shoulders weighs the yoke of time. Nothing refusing of creation's load, I have borne all and known I still must bear. Perhaps when the world sinks into a last sleep, I too may sleep in dumb eternal peace. I have borne the calm indifference of heaven, watched nature's cruelty to suffering things, while God passed silent by, nor turned to help. Yet have I cried, not out against his will, yet have I not accused his cosmic law, only to change this great hard world of pain. A patient prayer has risen from my breast. A pallid resignation lights my brow. Within me a blind faith and mercy dwell. I carry the fire that never can be quenched, and the compassion that supports the suns. I am the hope that looks toward my God who never came to me till now. His voice I hear ever says, I come. I know that one day he shall come at last.
Thank you. Anand.
Sorry. Ay, me perdí. ¿Dónde estoy? Ay, got lost. I got lost.
She ceased.
Yeah, but I don't know the number. I know that one day he shall come at last. She ceased, and like an echo from below, answering her pathos of divine complaint. A voice of wrath took up the dull refrain, a growl of thunder or roar of angry beast, the beast that crouching growls within man's depths, voice of a tortured titan on once the god. I am the man of sorrows. I am he who is nailed on the white cross of the universe. To enjoy my agony, God built the earth. My passion, he has made his drama's theme. He has sent me naked into his bitter world, and beaten me with his rods of grief and pain, that I might cry and grovel at his feet, and offer him worship with my blood and tears. I am Prometheus under the vultured brake, man the discoverer of the undying fire, in the flame he kindling burning like a moth. I'm the seeker who can never find. I'm the fighter who can never win. I'm the runner who never touched his goal. Hell tortures me with the edge of my thought. Heaven tortures me with the splendor of my dreams.
Thank you.
What profit have I of my animal's birth? What profit have I of my human soul? I toil like the animal die. I am man the rebel, man the helpless serf. Fate and my fellows cheat me of my wage. I loosen with my blood my servitude seal, and shake from my aching neck the oppressor's knees, only to seat new tyrants on my back. My teachers lesson me in slavery, and I am shown God's stamp and my own signature upon the sorry contract of my fate. I have loved, but none has loved me since my birth. My fruit of work is given to other hands. All that is left me is my evil thoughts, my sordid quarrel against God and man, envy of the riches that I cannot share, hate of happiness that is not mine. I know my fate will ever be the same. It is my nature's work that cannot change. I have loved for mine, not for the beloved's sake. I have lived for myself and not for others' lives.
Thank you.
Each in himself is soul by nature's law. So God has made his harsh and dreadful world. So has he built the petty heart of man. Only by force and ruse can man survive. For pity is a weakness in his breast. His goodness is a laxity in the nerves. His kindness an investment for return. His altruism is ego's other face. He serves the world that him the world may serve. If once the Titan's strength could waken me, if Enceladus from Etna could arise, I then would reign the master of the world, and like a god enjoy man's bliss and pain. But God has taken from me the ancient force. There is a dull consent in my sluggish heart, a fierce satisfaction with my special pangs. And if they made me taller than my kind, only by suffering can I excel. I am the victim of titanic ills. I am the doer of demonic deeds. I was made for evil. Evil is my lot. Evil I must be, and by evil live. Naught other can I do but be myself. What nature made me, that I must remain. I suffer and toil and weep. I moan and hate.
Thank you.
And Savitri heard the voice, the echo heard, and turning to her being of pity spoke. Madonna of suffering, Mother of grief divine, thou art the portion of my soul put forth to bear the unbearable sorrow of the world. Because thou art, men yield not in their doom, but ask for happiness and strive with fate. Because thou art, the wretched still can hope. But thine is the power to solace, not to save. One day I will return, a bringer of strength, and make thee drink from the Eternal's cup. His streams of force shall triumph in thy limbs, and wisdom's calm control thy passionate heart. Thy love shall be the bond of humankind. Compassion, the bright key of nature's acts. Misery shall pass abolished from this earth. The world shall be freed from the anger of the beast. From the cruelty of the Titan and his pain, there shall be peace and joy forevermore.
Thank you.
On passed she, in her spirit's upward route, an ardent grandeur climbed mid ferns and rocks. A quiet wind flattered the heart to warmth, a finer perfume breathed from slender trees. All beautiful grew, subtle and high and strange. Here on a boulder, carved like a huge throne, a woman sat in gold and purple sheen, armed with a trident and the thunderbolt, her feet upon a cushioned lion's back. A formidable smile curved round her lips. Heaven fire laughed in the corners of her eyes. Her body a mass of courage and heavenly strength, she managed the triumph of the nether gods. A halo of lightnings flamed around her head, and sovereignty, a great cestus, zoned her robe, and majesty and victory sat with her, guarding in the wide cosmic battlefield against the flat equality of death and the all-leveling insurgent night, the hierarchy of the ordered powers, the high changeless values, the peaked eminences, the privileged aristocracy of truth, and the governing ideal sun, the triumvirate of wisdom, love, and bliss, and the sole autocracy of the absolute light.
Thank you.
August on her seat in the inner world of mind, the mother of might looked down on passing things, listened to the advancing tread of time, saw the irresistible wailing of the suns, and heard the thunder of the march of God. amid the swaying forces in their strife. Sovereign was a word of luminous command. Her speech like a war cry rang, or a pilgrim chant, a charm restoring hope in failing hearts. Aspire the harmony of her puissant voice, O Savitri, I am thy secret soul. I have come down into the human world, and the moment watched by an unsleeping eye, and the dark contrariety of earth's fate, and the battle of the bright and somber powers. I stand upon earth's paths of danger and grief, and help the unfortunate and save the doomed. To the strong I bring the guerdon of their strength. To the weak I bring the armor of my force. To men who long I carry their coveted joy. I am fortunate, justifying the great and wise, by the sanction of the plaudits of the crowd, then trampling them with the armed heel of fate.
Thank you.
My ear is leaned to the cry of the oppressed. I topple down the thrones of tyrant kings. A cry comes from proscribed and hunted lives, appealing to me against a pitiless world, a voice of the forsaken and desolate, and the lone prisoner in his dungeon cell. Men hail in my coming the almighty force, or prize with thankful treats his savor grace. I smite the Titan who bestrides the world, and slay the orc in his blood-stained den. I'm Durga, goddess of the proud and strong, and Lakshmi, queen of the fair and fortunate. I wear a face of Kali when I kill. I trample the corpse of demon hordes. I'm charged by God to do this mighty work. Uncaring I serve his will, who sent me forth, reckless to peril and earthly consequence. I reason not of virtue and of sin, but do the deeds he has put into my heart.
Thank you. I'll read. I fear not for the angry frown of heaven. I flinch not from the red assault of hell. I crush the opposition of the gods, tread down 1,000,000 goblin obstacles. I guide man to the path of the divine, and guard him from the red wolf and the snake. I set in his mortal hand my heavenly sword, and put on him the breastplate of the gods. I break the ignorant pride of human mind, and lead the thought to the wideness of the truth. I rend man's narrow and successful life, and force his sorrowful eyes to gaze at the sun, that he may die to earth and live in his soul. I know the goal. I know the secret route. I have studied the map of the invisible worlds. I am the battle's head, the journey's star. But the great obstinate world resists my word, and the crookedness and evil in man's heart is stronger than reason, profounder than the pit, and the malignancy of hostile forces, of hostile powers, puts craftily back the clock of destiny, and mightier seems than the eternal will. So we go back. Or maybe we stop. Okay, we'll stop there for today.
journeying forward through the self-wide hush, she came into a brilliant, ordered space. There, life dwelt, parked in an armed tranquility. A chain was on her strong, insurgent heart. There one stood forth who bore authority on an important brow and held a rod. His sentences savored the oracle. Traveler or pilgrim of the inner world, owe aspirant to the perfect way of life. Here find it, rest from search and live at peace.
Thanks to Sri Aurobindo.